welcome back again to Women's Watch Show Social Distancing Edition. It's going to be a very interesting section today. My guests today have had coronavirus. It's been a couple of months, maybe a month, and she is fully recovered. She will be leading us exactly on how it started to how she's faring today. So sit back and let's enjoy it. Meanwhile, remember that here we use the breakthrough moment and word of a successful woman to inspire and motivate you. We measure success not by the amount of money in the pocket, but by the effort one makes on daily basis to achieve their goal. We believe that every woman has a story, so share yours with us. And my name is Clara Kronberg. Let's meet our guest, Gide Olesen. Hello, Gide. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing? I know I've asked you, we've talked, but how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, let's start from the beginning, where it all started. You went for a ski holiday earlier this year.
We did.
Yeah. How did the symptoms start? How did you start feeling that maybe you have something?
We went to Austria, and the night before we were heading to Denmark, I actually had my first symptom, which was diarrhea during the night, and I didn't think of the coronavirus at all. I was just thinking it would have been something that I had for dinner the night before, so that was my first thought. Then driving back in the car, I started getting this terrible headache and really heavy headache, and that worried me a bit because I never get headaches usually. So I took some medication for the headache, and it didn't help. It just turned into a fever. Of course, I didn't know that before I got back home to Denmark in our house. I took my temperature, and it was showing almost 39.
Wow.
So that was the first symptoms, yeah.
But did your husband have the same symptom as well? Like, did he
He
feel
didn't have
anything?
anything at that point, no. But he started the next day.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't really a long time apart, no?
No, just the day after he started, yeah.
When did you start thinking, okay, this might be coronavirus?
Well, as soon as I got back home in the evening with the fever, I right away said, this must be it, because this is some of the symptoms. And I don't think I've had a fever since I was a kid. So that was, for me, it was an obvious indication.
Wow. But you were never tested, were you?
No, we called that evening when I got back home, I called this emergency line that we have in Denmark for when all the other, your regular doctor is closed, then you call this number. And right away they told me, no, since you're coming from Austria, there's nobody there who has the coronavirus.
You mean there is nobody there that does not have it or have it?
Nobody was registered with the virus in Austria at that point.
Right.
From what they knew. So today we know that it was totally different. Of course, a lot of people had it.
Some people that you went skiing with had eventually tested positive. When was this?
We went alone, but we met some people there. We met some Americans there, and we had fun with these guys. There were about 10 people, and we partied with them every night, and we even were invited for dinner at their house one evening. So they made home-cooked meal for us, and so we were pretty much together all the time. And when I got home that first night here in Denmark, I already there thought, this is the virus, and I better call these people and tell them. I did that the next day, and I just told them that I got these symptoms, and they all said, "Oh, we're fine, we don't have anything." Oh. And then it took a few more days. They called me up and said, "We all have it," and we got tested positive. So that's when I knew for sure that of course we have it too.
And did you have like a very difficult time breathing, or did you have to
No,
use the respirator or something? No.
no, we didn't have any symptoms that really were worrying. Nothing to worry about actually, because it was the fever, and that for me lasted 4 days, and for my husband it was 3 days.
Right.
After that, he was actually without symptoms at all, no symptoms at all. And I continued with the coughing and having a nasal um, feeling sound to it. So we both lost our smell and taste. Um, we couldn't taste our food, and we couldn't smell anything, and that's also a typical symptom for this coronavirus. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Interesting. But during this period, were you scared? Did you feel, oh my God?
no, no, we still at that point didn't think that it was anything worse than having a regular influenza.
Right.
Uh,
So
yeah.
it was more or less
So
like, okay. But you isolated yourself for how long? How long did you isolate yourself? You and your
uh,
husband, I mean.
for 2 weeks, and that's because I wanted to. Well, actually, I did for 3 weeks, but for 2 weeks for sure. And then I still had a little cough at that time, so I said no. The cough can be anything. It can be not related to the virus, but it could also very well be. So that's why I said I better stay home until everything is gone. So
That's right.
that's what I did. Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's not what we were not advised to do so when we first called. They actually said to us, "Oh, as long as the fever is gone, you can go to work, and your husband can go and have his regular treatments at the hospital too. No problem."
Yeah, because you both work at the healthcare center, and I think that's why it's really surprising that it wasn't really a big bargain for you to stay back home for a long time to get really isolated or get tested at least.
For us, we thought it was very important to actually be tested because we both work in the healthcare.
Right.
So we thought it was very important to be tested, but they didn't. As I said, the first call, they just said, no, you're coming home from a country where there's no signs of that virus, so it doesn't matter. 2 days later, the Austria was actually on the map and having a lot of people getting infected. So we called back, and they said this time that, well, you're well into the illness right now, so that you should just stay home and wait for the fever to wear off, and just be sure to wait to go to work till the fever is gone. So again, they said, and I know all of this has something to do with they didn't have enough tests to do it. But I still think we should have been tested since we're working in the healthcare. Yeah, good. But another thing I think is important is to test people after and see if they had it. Because it's also important to know that you're actually not capable of infecting others anymore.
Exactly.
One of these people, the American that were tested positive, didn't have any symptoms at all.
Okay, but he tested positive even though he didn't have any symptom. Wow.
So you can walk around and have the virus and not know it, and not knowing that you're giving it to others. So, yeah. And in America, I know that they were tested twice. When they were without symptoms, they were tested twice to be sure that they didn't have it anymore.
Wow.
Not once, but twice. Yeah.
But that
But
means
they
that
don't
this
follow.
social distancing and self-isolation thing that we are all practicing right now is very important, because I might have it without even knowing that I have it.
Yeah. You should see yourself, and you should see everybody else as having it, and take your precautions from that. That's what I think is the best thing to do.
Now you are back at work. How is it like going back to work after 1 month, I guess?
That is very different because, as I said, I'm working. I'm working in the healthcare, and we have patients. But we are having maybe patients for 2-3 hours, and then everybody else has just canceled or are not. We are not supposed to look at them. So.
So you've actually not come in contact with anybody who have coronavirus ever since you resumed work?
Not at our work, no.
No, right.
We not that we know of anyway.
Yeah.
But things are different now. When we're not to touch anything of theirs. When they come up and show the health card, we cannot take it. We'll just have them leave it on the table and read it from there. So things are very different, yeah.
I'm so glad that everything worked out well for you. But do you think that, in your opinion, do you think there might be stigma of people that have had, coronavirus? Do you think there will be this thing of resentment of, oh, I don't want to associate with you because you have had?
I'm sure there will always be people that are thinking like that, and I think nothing is wrong in thinking one or the other. There will be people that are more scared than others, and that's fine too. They just have to take their own precautions, and we have to accept it too. Whatever we think is right, we still have to accept what other people find best for them. So it's very important to think that way too, that it's okay for others to react different than oneself.
Right.
But everybody has to be careful and really, yeah, keep distant.
My last question is, what would be your advice to some people out here right now watching this about the situation and the fear, how to place their mental health in check?
I would love to say that I would love to have people not try and blame everyone else, but just really think that everybody's trying their best, and you can't blame anyone for this. It's nobody's fault that we all maybe get this. So just try not to be angry at anybody and blame everybody for everything. Everybody's doing their best to try and solve this problem, so we just have to try and get the best out of it. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for coming to Women's Watch Show to share this part of your experience with us. And I'm glad you're feeling much better and you're back to more or less normal life. So I hope to see you sometime soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really, really interesting. Remember to just stay safe, stay home, and follow all the precautionary measures set out in your own city, in your own country, wherever you are, because you might even have it without even knowing that you have it. So please, let's continue to play our part in flattening the curve. Take care of yourself out there, guys. Take care of you. I'll see you on the next social distancing edition in Women's World Show. Thank you for clicking on Women's World Show YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe for more interesting videos like this. Remember, some of the videos might even make you laugh and some might make you cry. But of course, you get inspired, motivated, and more even elevated. See you on the next video on Women's World Show.